It's the 10 to 1 podcast with your host, Brad Oman, featuring Ben Konowitz and Nate Loucks. And here's the podcast.
All right, that was pretty good. It was better than I can do.
Yeah. I mean, we all know this now, though. You and I are not gifted.
We are not that person.
Who's Iken?
Better than I can do?
Yeah.
Okay. This is fun already for the listener.
Who's Iken?
I'm Iken to get
I'm
this over
Iken.
with. Yeah. Clay Aiken.
Clay.
All right, we did
If I was invisible.
No.
If I was just jerking on the bus.
That's not.
By the way, how do you know a Clay Aiken song?
He doesn't. That's not like. Wait, hold
No,
on.
but
Do you think the lyrics are "I'm jerking on a bus"? Clay Aiken. Like, do you think those are the lyrics?
But I'm pretty sure that is a Clay Aiken song that you're parodying.
Well, sure.
Which means you know a Clay Aiken song enough to parody it.
That is literally his famous song from after he was on
Jerking
American
on a
Idol.
bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was invisible, parentheses, jerking on a bus.
If I was invisible, Greyhound remix. Hey guys, it's
And we need to clean up our act because this is not Go Fix Yourself.
We just got done recording our other podcast, and here's how it goes. Normally, we record this one first because we're serious, and then we get to be a little silly. So we reversed it for some reason this time, and now
Pull my thing back, flip it in reverse.
Yeah, see, we're a little weird.
It's
So
your fan, yeah, Bomb.
welcome to a weird episode of the 10 to 1.
The 10 to 1 podcast. That podcast where we recap and review new episodes of Saturday Night Live. And wouldn't you know it, there was a new episode this past
Wouldn't
weekend
you know it?
with Sydney Sweeney, the star of Euphoria and Handmaid's Tale
and not Madam Web.
Anyone But You. And she's hosting Saturday Night Live for the first time. And she did it.
She did.
No, she did do it. This was... I'll just say, just at the top of the show, I was pleasantly surprised by this one, actually, for the most part. And that's,
Were you?
That's where I'll leave it. And we'll get into the nitty gritty of the episode here momentarily.
All right.
Momentarily.
Before we get into this episode, though, I wanted to point out a strange bit of trivia about Saturday Night Live that I learned over the weekend because
I
was watching. Every now and then, I'll throw on the Peacock Saturday Night Live channel. Right now, there's two separate ones. There's one that plays full episodes of SNL, at least in their truncated form, because sometimes they don't have all the sketches. And there's another one that just plays random collections of different sketches. Sometimes there's a theme to them. Sometimes it's just a random collection. And I happened to see a clip featuring Tracy Morgan as Brian Fellows. No, not Brian Fellows' Safari Planet, which is the sketch that made that character famous, where he plays this kind of dim-witted zoologist that has animal experts on his show, and he knows jack shit about animals and says the dumbest things. But no, this was an early iteration of Brian Fellows, who was a sassy gay sports journalist who appeared at the Weekend Update desk with Colin Quinn and was basically kind of like the gossip version of a sports journalist, like talking about like behind the scenes stuff of like people having affairs and saying, and he did it with like the same kind of voice though. So that was the original Brian Fellows before it turned into Brian Fellows Safari Plan. I had no idea.
All right.
No idea.
Yeah. Fun little trivia there.
Most people don't know that Jason Sudeikis' Ted Lasso is not just an original character for that show, but was actually an NBC sports character that they made up in 2013.
Yeah.
So his writing partner, I think, was an SNL writer, wasn't he?
Yeah, these things happen.
They do.
And they blossom.
They blossom just like this 90s show.
With a hat.
Mm-hmm. What was that, Peter Griffin? So Sydney Sweeney hosted this episode, but how did the episode begin, Nate?
All right, Dana Bash, played by Heidi Gardner, interviews Governor Gavin Newsom, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, and Draymond Green, played by Michael Longfellow, Ego Wodum, Marcelo Hernandez, and Devin Walker, to address concerns about President Biden's age.
Now, have they done this before, though?
I don't think they've done any jokes about Biden's age yet.
No, not that. But like
this was bad.
The behind closed doors thing, I thought that the SNL specifically has done this before. They're like, behind closed doors, he's really good. I remember that being a thing, and I don't know if it was Weekend Update or whatever, but they've done this joke before. This was just a elongated non-escalation version of that.
I disagree with the escalation part because I do think that there was escalation.
Sorry, not as much as I would have liked.
Yes, I agree with that. I did want them to get.
There was
more,
a little though. I will give.
Yeah,
you that.
I did want them to get more outlandish if they were going to do something like this. And then of course bringing Mikey Day as Biden at the end, it's just like
It was whatever. But so I think my problem is with the escalation. Like their version of escalation is bringing in Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like making the things that Biden is doing more outlandish.
right.
And I wish they would have done some poor Photoshop of him climbing Mount Everest or like rescuing a kitchen. Wow.
A chicken.
Rescuing a kitten from a tree or something that is seriously just badly Photoshopped that they could have just pulled on to say like, come on, this is ridiculous. But I don't know. It didn't work.
I mean, I do think that what's the NBA player's name again?
Draymond Green.
Draymond Green, what he did was ridiculous.
It was.
And I did like the young blood callback.
That was good too. There were a few, good points here, but
yeah,
again,
I still wanted it to get more absurd as well.
Of course. So as far as we always talk about this, the political cold opens, not our favorite. In the pantheon of them, Nate, where does this rank? Is this near the bottom, near the top, or just in the middle?
That's really hard because you're talking about what is the worst of the worst, and there's some really bad ones.
I'm saying as of late. Like this season, last season, we've not given a lot of credit to the writers and
I don't think it's the worst one. No, not. I mean, I don't think it's good though. I mean, it's I don't know. Remind me, was there a good cold open that we've seen in the last 2 years?
We gave compliments to the one that they did, like the Donald Trump freeze frame where everybody was behind just frozen. Yep. We did that. Then there was another one that was basically almost like a draft, maybe, or something like that. That was a little bit more. So anything that's a little bit more meta. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're giving a little bit more credence to, but the idea that you can just parrot what's really happening sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we can move on from this. We can.
I don't know.
I just don't want to beat a dead horse. Every episode, we're like, we go through this, and again, the political. Blah, blah.
Well, we have to keep dealing with it.
I know, but like, we could. Hey, listener, it was bad. Move on.
All right, moving on. Sydney Sweeney monologue.
It was not bad.
It wasn't all bad. Okay, fine. There were a couple. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst.
All right. Hosting for the first time, actress Sydney Sweeney talks about her life outside of acting and addresses internet rumors. The cameo features Sydney's co-star from Anyone But You, Glen Powell.
God, he's handsome.
They're both not ugly people.
She's great. He's so handsome.
This was short, but it was. She felt comfortable. The only time when she wasn't comfortable, I think it's because the audience reaction was like strangely like grounded about it. Was when she mentioned the rumor of having an affair. Like it's almost like it was like, oh, what, she's gonna talk about it?
She literally says it. There's an audible like vacuum in the room, and it was like, no, she's saying that because it's so audacious.
Yeah.
And it was weird. That's an audience problem. That's not her problem.
No, it's not her problem at all. But like, it just goes to show you like where she's at in her career, though, where everyone's like, "Oh, it's the juicy. I want the juice."
And I do love that they leaned into like showing Glen Powell, right?
Yeah,
it's great. Like it was adorable. She did great in the monologue for a first time actress that's that young to try to figure that shit out. We've seen veteran actors stumble through that, and that's really hard.
Yeah.
So good for her.
Yeah, it was short. It was sweet. It was fine.
It was what it needed to be.
Yeah, she didn't have to do much, but there wasn't,
And I know that I do say, like, I over and over again, that monologue will tell me how much confidence I have with the host, right? And this one did not make me feel bad. I didn't think, oh fuck, what are we in for? I was a little nervous because it was short and it didn't give her a lot to do. But again, she didn't fumble her lines. She didn't like misread a cue card. She didn't
audibly fart.
I would have been fine with that.
Ew.
He said some weird stuff.
I'm just joking.
But let me say this. I didn't love this episode. I think Brad's going to like this one better than I did. I didn't love this episode, but I never thought Sydney Sweeney was the weakest part of it.
The problem, yeah.
The weakest part was there was just some really unfunny sketches. But moving on.
We'll see.
Detectives. Two girls played by Sydney Sweeney and Chloe Feynman intern at an office of detectives, which includes Kenan Thompson, Mikey Day, Ego Wodum, and James Austin Johnson. Heidi Gardner also stars as a woman. I am incredibly talented at internet sleuthing. Like it is a skill that I have that I could be one of these girls.
Didn't know Nate was going to start tooting his own
I
horn.
was going to say, what?
I just when I saw
am
this,
incredibly talented.
when I saw this, I'm like, I could do that. I'm really good at figuring out like I follow you guys. I know where you're at almost every time, every minute.
I don't keep it a secret. Usually I'll text you and say, hey, I'm over here.
Hey, I'm going to the bathroom now.
And Nate's like, I know where Brad is.
You're like, I'm going to the bathroom. I know.
What'd you guys think of this? I thought they were silly. I thought it was fine. I thought the sketch was fine. I didn't think it was hilarious, but I thought it was fine.
No, I really like this one because there is a certain kind of person, I think, especially among Gen Z, where like, and it's usually it's you can see women with this kind of personality, like that slight vocal fry and this like very kind of casual attitude about everything, where like they can easily sneak around and find information from other people's social media accounts.
They did a good job of that, where it's like we're solving a murder, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. And that is a thing where that generation is like, yeah, how is this hard for you?
Oh yeah, this is what I did.
Yeah.
I at first I thought they were gonna do something where they were gonna be like true crime podcasters and be terrible at like,
Sure.
you know.
I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
Though. I'm glad they were the expert
Yeah,
compared to.
Agreed. Yeah, it was.
And
I think it
Kenan
was
Thompson
fun.
did a great job too of being like, well, there's another one.
Another beautiful naked lady.
Yeah, that was a weird thing, and I liked it.
Yeah, it was funny.
Like, and so then, did Mikey Day bring it up? Like, why do you keep describing them like beautiful?
I think it was Ego who did it.
Oh, sorry.
Actually.
Yeah, they're not all. You don't have to say that every time. It was good.
Yeah,
it was good. Nate, you didn't like it as much?
I thought it was fine. I just thought it was fine. I didn't think it was great. Like, it was good performances. It was a fine sketch. There was nothing in here that stood out to me, though.
Well, when I saw Sydney Sweeney doing this, though, like what this was like when I was like, oh, okay, she's gonna be pretty good this episode.
And so again, her and Chloe Feynman, right?
Yeah.
And so watching them both do the exact same thing, and Sydney Sweeney being on the level of Chloe, I'm like, and to your point, that's exactly what I need to see in the first sketch.
Yeah.
Like, she's not behind, she's not floating her lines, she's right there with her.
Mhm.
She's adding, she's yes-anding as far as that is concerned. I really was like, okay, we're on solid footing here.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We're back with another Please Don't Destroy. Gone Too Soon. Ben Marshall, John Higgins, and Martin Herlihy share their grief over the passing of a friend with Sydney Sweeney. Why have you guys never called me Reverend Butt Cheek P. Rosenthal?
I will from now on.
Because his middle name is Penis.
I do really enjoy that we do this a lot when we're trying to be serious. We're like, and this is not a bit. You have like when you do enough comedy and you're fucking around all the time with your friends, you have to tell them when you're being serious. Otherwise, they're just going to start making jokes. So sometimes when I'm around Brad, I'd be like, I'm not doing a bit. What do you think about this? And then it means in his mind, he goes, oh, I've got to actually fucking care.
Yeah.
Right? That's what this sketch is personified, and I fucking loved it because of that.
Yeah.
Like the idea that they're like, I know this is gonna sound weird, and so I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I do with my friends. Like I'm not doing a
It's
bit.
gonna sound absolutely hilarious.
I know it's gonna say absolutely hilarious, but cheap peach. It was great.
The one thing I will say though is because I did think it was funny for a Please Don't Destroy sketch. It didn't seem like they had nearly as much escalation of the absurdity as they normally do.
And that's very true. I loved what they did. I do wish, of course, as always, it would have gotten sillier because that's what they're good at.
Part of me thinks
but I was fine with it too. Like I didn't need that.
Part of me, I think too, is I was a little disappointed in the payoff that all we got was the audio of what happened as opposed to something more. Not that I needed to see it necessarily, but it just felt like a little bit like of a jip at the end.
Bit of a cheap way out. Yeah, that's fair. Maybe it actually was writing night, like really late in the night, and they just didn't have the time.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because
they didn't have the effects people be able to.
I mean, they did really set that up like that. So.
Yeah.
We just didn't have time.
No, it was good. It was good.
Funny.
I was happy.
It was nice to have him back. Like,
Honestly, I've missed him. But as Nate has pointed out previously, they do a lot of heavy lifting on the writing side. So sometimes maybe you don't get that. But I really, it was nice to see him again.
We hadn't seen them since Dakota Johnson. So
right, Madam Web,
which was another great one.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. That was better than this one.
Yeah.
Now, listeners of this podcast might not know, our Go Flix Yourself listeners probably do know, that in our studio tonight, there is 2 posters on the wall. One for Cars from the 2026 Cars film.
Nope. That's not from the future.
From the future?
Oh, sorry, 2006.
Hey, Nate, it's not Go Flix Yourself. It's not a time change.
All right,
Wow.
sorry. 2006.
2006.
And
the poster says the all new 2006.
I literally was reading.
Nate was reading it.
I was literally reading. I might have dyslexia or just be dumb.
That's okay. That's okay, buddy.
I'm dumb.
So there's Cars
and Air Bud.
Air Bud is the other poster.
And there was a sketch called Airbud. Sydney Sweeney plays a cheerleader who meets Airbud, the new star basketball player who is actually a dog. The cast also includes Ego Wodum and Chloe Feynman as cheerleaders, Mikey Day as Bud's owner, and Andrew Dismukes and Marcelo Hernandez as basketball players. You put a dog in a sketch, and I'm going to wait for that dog to have fun. And this dog was a really well-behaved dog.
Out of all the dogs they've had, this is probably
Yes. You
the
guys think
most
that?
well-behaved.
I'm like,
But
come
also-
on, dog, do something funny.
Also, he's old. You could see, or he or she. That's an old dog. You can't, you can't teach him new tricks.
It can go one of two ways. You could have a dog that doesn't cooperate and that makes the sketch funnier, or you have a dog that is this good and makes it work because he's so adorable and it's just funny.
Every time they cut to him, I wasn't expecting him to do something weird.
Right.
I was expecting what I got, and that makes the sketch work.
And then
it was great.
And of course, he just adorably eats that sandwich.
Oh
too.
my God. And the fact that they decide, like, here's what we're going to do to keep the dog occupied.
Yeah.
But my goodness, I wanted to pet that dog so hard.
But watching Sydney Sweeney get dramatic with the dog and aroused by the dog
God.
and hitting on the dog.
And then, of course, the juxtaposition, right? Like, they're coming in like, it's a dog, right? Like, that was great.
Yeah.
This was one of my favorite sketches of the night.
Yeah, I thought this was a good sketch. I thought the performances were good. Sydney Sweeney was particularly funny in this sketch for me. So
Whoever got
great.
high and watched Airbud and came up with this
exactly.
sketch.
That's what like.
So, friends of Go Flix Yourself, Ben and Susan, Susan Swarner and Ben Bloom, texted Brad and I and said, "Did you see this?" Because we have a good running inside joke with them about that. But I hadn't seen the episode when I got that text message, and it made me so excited.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy it paid off. It's a really fun sketch.
Good stuff. And so is Airbud.
As a movie,
Yeah,
hey, there's no rule that says a dog can't play basketball.
exactly.
All right, moving on. Big Bench, a group of judges including Ego Wodum, Mikey Day, Heidi Gardner, Keenan Thompson, Bowen Yang, Andrew Dismukes, Marcelo Hernandez, and Michael Longfellow tried to settle a court case between a woman named Sydney Sweeney and a woman played by Sydney Sweeney and her sister's husband, James Austin Johnson.
Pass.
I thought this had so much potential.
Yeah,
it was
I
such a
agree.
letdown.
Like, I felt like, oh, this premise is wonderful. I think there's some really fun things that could happen here, and even like things that you could bring back.
This was
even
terrible. I mean, honestly,
they just never met anything.
Well, so it didn't go the route that I thought it was going to, because what I thought they were going to do is I thought that it was just going to be a constant rotation of introducing all
judges.
and it was never
Yeah.
going to end. It was always going to be.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
That would have been really funny.
Also, did you think it was going to be the same dog?
For a split second.
Yeah, they're like, and the dog judge or whatever. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, and then it was different. I was like, good for you,
Yeah.
SNL. Way to go.
But I was disappointed by this because and it's just because A, it wasn't as funny as it could have been, and B, I didn't feel like it went in the most interesting direction.
I love James Austin Johnson. I hated that character. I just didn't like his addition to this sketch at all.
I thought Dismukes was good though.
Yeah, he was.
He
But
was.
I did not like that character though.
No,
Well, I think you
didn't.
just don't like rednecks.
Well, I mean, that
Sure,
is
whatever.
true, but
Yeah.
like,
Okay. Oh, you got me there.
Yeah.
Put me on blast, Brad. Thanks.
Oh, that's pretty mean.
one of my favorite sketches.
Fuck redneck.
They're good Americans, Ben.
Oh boy.
One of my favorite sketches of the night. Bowen Straight, written by Bowen Yang, Will Steven, August White, and Gary Richardson. Sydney Sweeney discovers that Bowen Yang is in fact straight. This sketch also includes Heidi Gardner, Ego Wodum, Mikey Day, Marcelo Hernandez, and Devin Walker. There's also a cameo by the great Gina Gershon.
Which is just such a random, awesome cameo.
Yeah, so good.
This sketch was awesome.
I thought this was hilarious.
This was awesome.
I love that Bowen was probably the impetus for this, like the writer of this, and like guys that got this idea. Sydney Sweeney.
He's the straightest sassy bitch I've ever seen. I love
Yeah.
it. He was so still Bowen, but they played it perfectly. It was so good.
what do you guys think about?
He's gay. He's gay.
No.
Oh, sorry.
So
I'd go straight for Sydney Sweeney.
I mean, yeah.
a lot of the sketches certainly played on Sydney Sweeney's being kind of a sex figure, these kind of things, and
Well, let's talk about that.
Well,
hold on. Let's talk about that.
no, I kinda
the very first sketch was the detective one. That wasn't sexual, right? And then what was the second one?
Detectives was the.
Well, sorry, the cold opens one. Her monologues two. Then the
I mean, the
detective is
the monologue was
sure,
sexual.
It talked about her, and she was wearing a
Monologue
very
was-
revealing dress.
Monologue's not sexual just because she's showing cleavage, Nate. Relax.
I mean, she talks about her roles having sex and crying, and
Well,
these
she talks about that. That's the kind of role she
I know, and clearly,
I don't think that they were playing her up as sexual in
I agree.
that moment, right?
This was not a Jacob Elordi.
It wasn't, and the Texas one was not at all that, right?
I mean, she's playing kind of a
No, it was not sexual at all.
Yeah, they weren't playing it up like talking about her being attractive or a hot girl or anything like
Not
that.
at all. Not even once.
I mean, that's what she was. It was a hot girl with another
Just
hot girl
because
there.
she is an attractive girl doesn't mean it's always about
No,
attractive.
it was-
Jesus Christ, Nate.
I literally
No,
watched-
I
no,
only bring this up because this was obviously something that was talked about
I
afterwards.
watched-
That this was essentially Jacob Elordi for girls.
No, it wasn't. It was not. I disagree. Hard
and
disagree.
I even wrote this in my review. I completely disagree. With the exception of because there's the Hooters
the
sketch.
Hooters one, of course.
Yeah, of course. That sketch
Duh.
wasn't even that funny though. But otherwise, they didn't play up or lean into that. And like,
You
and,
sit there and you watch the detective sketch, and my very first thought was, these are two very young people that are good at things that old people wouldn't be good
Yeah.
at. I never once thought this is sexualized. Never once.
And even with the Bowen straight one, it's not about Bowen turning straight because Sydney Sweeney is so
Right.
hot.
They
It's-
could have done that, by the way. They
it's-
didn't.
Yeah, it's already established
It's
that he's
Bowen.
pretending to be
Yeah.
straight all the time. So like, so like
Pretending
that's,
to be gay all the time.
yeah, or sorry, pretending to be gay all the time.
Yeah. So the fact that they could have leaned into, like, that's actually an excellent point. They could have leaned into Sydney Sweeney's got her tits out and she's so hot that Bowen's straight, but that's not what they did.
Yeah.
It's Bowen has always been straight.
Yeah.
He's playing gay, and by the way, you can't get him.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe you can't. That's the funny bit to me. And they did the reverse of Jacob Elordi, where the Hooter sketchism is a one off.
Yeah.
You're gonna probably have one of those, but by and large, I was very impressed that they did different.
Yeah.
They did things differently.
All the sketches were not like talking about how hot she was or that like she was this beautiful girl or anything like that.
Nate,
It was a question I saw online. It was a conversation happening online. I just wanted to bring it in the
Tell him to
podcast.
fuck off.
I'm sorry.
don't present it as your own opinion. Then
I was literally asking a question. That's
Yeah,
all
but-
I was
yeah, you
doing.
were- yeah, well,
You're upset at me
you-
right
listen,
now.
hey, listen, Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
I'm just asking questions.
I'm just asking the
you-
question.
I'm just asking
you-
questions.
I'm just asking a question. All right. What about the vaccine?
Yeah, the vaccines are fake. I'm just asking a question, right? The vaccines are fake, right? That's your question, right?
I'm not saying the vaccines aren't fake, but why does everyone die when they take it?
Nate Loucks.
I'm just asking questions.
I'm just asking questions.
All right, makeup artists, things taken
Super sexualized. I hated it. They just made Sydney Sweeney super sexual. I don't.
I mean, she is pretty sexual in this one, but things take an unexpected turn after two makeup artists, played by Sydney Sweeney and Sarah Sherman, finished the makeup for a bride, played by Heidi Gardner. Shoot. They forgot to write a punchline on this one.
No, honestly, I liked this sketch
Did you?
because I didn't love it. I liked it, and I think it's because it kind of felt like a '90s throwback kind of sketch. Like it's like there's two characters that you might have seen like in a '90s sketch where like it has this like recurring punchline and like it could be a catchphrase that you could easily see it happening in different like arenas. Like maybe next time they work somewhere else, but it's the same kind of shoot. It didn't necessarily go anywhere exciting.
And that was my problem.
That's my
It just
biggest problem.
Never went anywhere.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem.
And so we talk about escalation all the time, but like you don't necessarily have to have escalation if the sketch does go somewhere with the same material. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it can be funny and that's the premise, but it physically just goes somewhere different
Like for
without
me-
escalation. But
like for me-
it says if you're repeating the same thing over and over again, it's not as
Night at the Roxbury. Same thing over again.
I don't know.
But you change it ever so slightly.
There's not escalation there, but it's
Yeah.
the same characters. But there are some really funny bits just around. Like we talked about that show or that movie where the scene where they're just throwing the plants into
Yeah.
the van. It's one of the funniest scenes that I've literally ever seen. Like I laughed out loud when I saw it. That has nothing to do with the Watabi brothers being cokeheads.
Butabi brothers.
Butabi
Butabi.
with B.
Yeah.
With a W.
Butabi.
No, with a W. Yeah,
Say it.
like
No,
I said,
I want you to say it. Butabi.
Wutabi. So with the Watabi brothers,
Oh my god.
they throw the planes. It's funny. It's the same characters. It's not necessarily escalation. It's just something different that they're doing, and it's still funny.
Yeah.
That's allowed. Nate, that's allowed.
Okay.
It's comedy. I'm sorry that you didn't like it.
All right.
Why do you hate laughing?
Hey, Brad, get out your phone.
All right, I got it right here.
Put a number in there for the pedometer.
Oh yeah.
Ben, while he's doing that, explain what the pedometer is.
When we have weekend update, which is every time SNL happens, Brad, he measures the interaction and jovial nature between the two co-hosts, Colin Jost, Michael Che, and how much fun they're kind of playing off each other. How much sass? How much fun are we having? And yes, if it's a better episode overall, they're having more fun, and therefore the Bradometer goes a little higher. It doesn't necessarily mean that the episode has to be amazing, but it will lend itself to a higher Bradometer. So we make Brad put it in his calculator to show us, because we used to just say, I say it's a 72.
Yeah,
it's 1 out of 100.
They don't trust me, though.
I don't trust you, because then he's like,
even though there's
Nate's
plenty of
right.
times that I've told you guys you're right. So
Well, yeah, I don't know about that.
whatever.
Nate, I'll let you go first this time. What do you think about the Bradometer this time around?
I watched it very intently this week, thinking, all right, let's take a cue for let's make a note for all the times that they looked at each other with a little bit of,
I kind of did the same, actually. I was like, I'm going to take this one really seriously.
And I thought there was
get it right.
quite a bit, actually.
I did as well. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm gonna go 85
Oh, I see. I was going to say 80, but now that you said 85, do I want to go more?
because you're usually more than I am.
Yeah. Oh shit, man. Okay, you're really putting me in a pickle here, Nate, because I was really going to say 80 this time. You know, I'm going to do 90. I'll do 90.
What's the number?
I'll go above it.
You guys are way off.
Really?
I put 60.
Really?
Yeah.
This was great.
They
you're
had a
you're
lot
wrong.
of-
You're
lot of
so
inter-
wrong.
Yeah, the
So
Bradometer
you're
is
so
broken.
wrong.
Broken. There's
You
so
know
much
what, guys?
interaction.
We're gonna take this into the shop.
Brad,
We're
shut
gonna
up.
get the
Nate-
Bradometer reset.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You know what? Next week, Nate, I want the Nateometer.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That's what I want. Brad, you're out. Nate's in.
So here's the thing. They did share a lot of quick glances with each other, but it didn't feel like it was ever like in a good groove, or they had like a really solid like.
But there's a bad camera cut on one of them.
That was a problem, and it's not their fault.
Exactly.
But it ruined it.
Ugh.
It ruined it. It didn't make me feel like they had the connection was working, because you didn't get to see it working in harmony with each other. And so it is a control.
Disagree.
It's a control room mistake, because there was a really poor cut to Colin that was just took him way too long. Like, oh shit, what are we doing?
I remember thinking, why are they waiting?
Yeah, why are they holding on Che? What's going on? Like, are they waiting, trying to do something funny with Jost?
Don Roy King, we miss you.
So
Just direction in
Seriously.
the season has been great.
I'm not joking.
that kind of ruined it. And then the rest of it just didn't feel like it was enough to like really build anything that like it didn't build upon itself, and like there wasn't a lot there that stood out to me, even though like you could see a little bit.
Fine, I guess, whatever.
Sorry guys.
Yeah, no, 60 though?
60 is
60?
low.
That's low for that.
That is low.
You have to admit that's low for that.
I felt low.
That is
felt low. I didn't
low.
feel the
You
love.
need to rewatch it.
Yeah,
because
rewatch
it.
It was wrong. You were wrong.
I didn't feel the love.
Did somebody hurt you?
Yeah, who hurt you?
I didn't feel the love.
Was it Colin Jost? He's got a punchable
Speaking
face.
of not feeling the love, how about that Heidi Gardner character?
All right, let's move on.
Yep.
Weekend Update anchors Colin Jost and Michael Che covered this week's top news, including Mitch McConnell's announcement that he will be resigning from the position as Senate leader at the end of the year in Staten Island, hosting LGBTQ-friendly St. Patrick's Day party. Did you know Colin Jost has gone to break the all-time Weekend Update episode record and continues to grow his legacy? He has broken every record for Weekend Update host. Is he now, do you think, the most legendary, maybe not the greatest, the
No.
most legendary
No.
Weekend Update
No.
host?
No.
No,
'Cause he's
never
done it more.
beat Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald is the best Weekend Update host of all time.
Kevin Nealon, right?
Colin Quinn.
Um,
No, Norm Macdonald stands alone because
He got fired for it?
he was literally. I mean, we always say it's really cool when people buck the system. He truly did.
Yeah,
he did whatever
he
the
made it
fuck
its own.
he wanted, and he was hilarious, and
Yeah.
he did what he wanted. I would say probably for the newer generations, Tina Fey and Jimmy Fallon probably are Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, Tina Fey and
Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers. Those are hard.
Amy Poehler and Seth Meyers.
Sorry, Amy Poehler and Seth Meyers. Those three interactions are very blended together now. So I look at that as an era, even though
they all
there's
kind of
different
bleed
people.
into each other, had a same approach.
Exactly. I do, and then there is the Colin Jost and Michael Che era, but I don't look at Colin Jost without Michael Che.
Yeah, of
You just
course.
can't. They are
Yeah.
duplicitous in that, right?
Yeah.
No, you disagree?
Yeah, I agree.
Like Colin Jost would not be legendary, but if you say Colin Jost and Michael Che, yeah, that's a legendary team on Weekend Update for sure.
Yeah.
There was a lot of great. This is why I thought you would like this, because I kind of feel that there's some chemistry here too between the as seen here stuff from Mitch McConnell and
Yeah, but that wasn't.
But they had a
between them.
couple different like
There was
little laughs from each other. From
I
that.
didn't think this weekend edition of Weekend Update in general was very good.
So
I liked it.
they haven't done looks like, seen here
Right.
in a bit. So the fact they did the 4 of them, I really did like that.
Yeah, same.
It was great.
That was my favorite part, was actually that they did that and they did it one right after the other.
Yeah, it was
too.
good.
Yeah, that was the part that I really liked. Otherwise, I didn't think this was all that great of an addition.
It was fine. I also, what do you want to talk about, Heidi?
All right, moving on. Weekend update. Woman who is aging gracefully on confidence. A woman who is aging gracefully, played by Heidi Gardner, stops our weekend update to discuss how to maintain confidence at any age. I wanted to see how long I could keep you from talking about Heidi Gardner on that one.
Every Heidi Gardner character is perfect and needs no notes. This one was tough. I love her to death, but
it's an amusing prospect.
It is,
because everyone knows a woman like this, but
it just didn't really work.
It didn't really.
And I don't.
anything.
But see, here's the thing. Here's where I'm going to just point out loud. I have no idea why. Like, I don't know what I could have done to make this better. I don't know that this should have been a thing.
Yeah,
it just doesn't do enough.
It just didn't work as like an ongoing thing for me. Like, I didn't.
The funniest thing was the stuff in her back. I thought that was hilarious.
The physical, actual, makeup comedy. I was like, oh, that's a reveal, and it happened at the end, which was escalation, and that's great.
That was hilarious.
That was funny. I laughed out loud at that, but it took a long time to get there, and it was kind of just haphazard. And just ask how old I am. It was just weird.
Yeah, it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
But there was another one. Weekend update. Charlotte the Stingray on her pregnancy, written by Alex English, Ego Wodum, Asha Warden, Gary Richardson. Charlotte the Stingray, who is played by Ego Wodum, stops by Weekend Update to discuss her mysterious pregnancy, which was apparently by Michael Che.
Now, is this a reaction to Sarah Sherman and Colin Jost? Are they trying now to, like, the Heidi Gardner a couple weeks ago did the fortune teller thing, and now Ego Wodum has done this, playing with Che. Is this a direct reaction to that? Like,
no.
They're saying
no.
Not that it's like not fair, but like they've known that fucking with an anchor is funny, and so let's do that.
I think
that's
it's more of that. It's not a reaction. It's that they know it's a recipe for.
I'm being like, not this is a jealousy thing. I'm just saying they see a recipe for success. Why don't we do it on the other side of the desk?
I think that's why Marcelo Hernandez did it last week.
Well, so in the case of this, though, is they've made similar jokes about Che before, though, about how he sleeps around
a hound dog and
has illegitimate children. Like, so
this
that
leans in pretty hard.
So so that kind of ribbing, but having it be a character like this, and one that is like ribbing Michael Che in character, does feel like at least somewhat of a different approach to
a
that.
bit of it, yeah. Because you can say, because Michael Che will make a joke about himself, or Colin just saying he doesn't like to wear or whatever, right? But having a character do it felt Sherman-esque with Jost.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that fair?
And I think for me is because I think Ego was good in this character. Should he bring it up of being this sassy stingray, but at the same time, I just don't think that Che works as well as a target.
You're right. And I think that's probably because in their real lives, Michael Che doesn't give a shit, and Colin Jost does.
Right, exactly.
Colin Jost really does feel bad about everything all the time, and Che has the confidence to just be like, no, this is whatever.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
I don't believe it as much as I believe it with Che.
Exactly.
Or with Jost. However, it's still funny when he does, like, come on, man, like, I'm not doing that. It's funny, but it's just not as good of a punchline.
Yeah.
Because, he doesn't have a punchable face like Colin Jost.
Yep.
All right, so another sketch that wasn't sexualizing our host, Hooters waitress, a new waitress portrayed by...
How dare you think this sexualized her?
Sydney Sweeney.
There's nothing sexual about a restaurant that has great wings.
Called Hooters.
Causes problems for her coworkers, Chloe Feynman, Sarah Sherman, and Bowen Yang at Hooters. The episode also includes Kenan Thompson, Mikey Day, Andrew Smukes, and Michael Longfellow as customers, and James Austin Johnson as the Hooters mascot. So one of the things I did love about this sketch was obviously Sydney Sweeney looks great in here. But
I'm not gonna lie, it was
Bowen Yang made me laugh a ton.
Oh God,
he was hilarious,
and it wasn't just that when he walked over there, we're like, nope. Yeah. The whole sketch of just seeing him in that outfit and like interacting was great. Like it's just so funny because he's got that confidence. He's like, yeah, I'm one of the staff members. It was good. I mean, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. What did you think, Brad?
Yeah, for me, it's the premise just feels so basic.
Sure.
It's like, oh yeah, of course the hot waitress at Hooters is getting these big tips while everyone else isn't. That was really,
and clearly you know why, right?
Yeah. So smart.
It was very basic. However, I still enjoyed it because she's very attractive, but also I will say the addition of Bowen Yang,
right? That's what made it
at least a little bit more palatable. But I will agree, it's a very one-note sketch. This was the most Jacob Elordi version of what they did.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Airbnb design commercial written by Chloe Trost. I don't know if she's written a ton yet, but she did write this one. Ben Marshall, John Higgins, Martin Herlihy, Mike DeCenzo, and Jake Nordwin. Two women played by Sydney Sweeney and Chloe Trost advertise their interior design company for Airbnbs. We have a text thread going on between the three of us because we have these two podcasts and we're just good friends anyway. But
Well,
Brag about it.
we're fine. We're fine.
we're fine. We're fine right now.
We're acquaintances.
We are acquaintances.
But in that, we sometimes, when things happen in the country or in the world, we'll say, do you think they're going to talk about this at all on Saturday Night Live? Will they parody this? Will they do anything? And the Willy Wonka experience did come up. And I think it was you, Brad, that said you think they will talk about this. And Ben said they wouldn't.
I said that they'll have a sketch. I said, if they have a sketch about it, then I'll pay you $15.
No, that's not what it's.
And Brad said,
no.
And Brad said,
No.
bet. And they mentioned it as a one-off line.
No.
And so I'm not paying him.
Not even fucking.
I'm not paying him.
Close.
Wait, we don't say that for it on this one.
Just kidding. When it comes to Ben lying, we fucking do.
Ben
gets
painted
really
himself,
upset about it.
Ben painted himself into a corner on this one because he could have gotten away with it if that's what he went, but he decided to go all in because Ben thought that, this is just a little internet thing. No one's going to be talking about this. This thing spread far and wide. This made national news.
I freaking can't wait for the
This was
documentary.
on all.
This will be the Fire Festival 2024.
and I can't wait. I'm
This
gonna
was
watch
on
it as
all
soon
of
as
the
it comes
news
out.
channels. It was all over the big online
And it should.
publications.
It is dumb. There's no
all
reason
over
this
the
should make
newspapers.
it.
No,
like,
and that's why I read it on
And Ben's
Reddit.
like,
and I was like,
Ben went,
it's just
it's just a little internet thing.
I didn't think it was a big
This has
deal.
been one of the funniest things of the year so far. It's all over the place, and it got mentioned.
And it just
in this
got
sketch.
more and more
Ben-
layers.
By the way, if you don't know what happened, Brad, what really happened?
So in Glasgow, Scotland, there was this event that was put on that was made to seem like it was going to be this cool Willy Wonka-esque experience for kids to come and like have candy and see things that kind of looked like the inside of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
They made it seem like you were going to walk in and like bite a flower made of
Yeah,
chocolate,
like a magical
right?
experience.
Yeah, like a literal
But it's like this big empty
Empty
warehouse
warehouse.
with like
sparsely.
sparsely decorated, like a candy cane here or there, like a big lollipop flower. It had like a cheap photo background on like a wall.
And there was a very viral photo that came out with one woman,
Sad Oompa Loompa.
woman, and she just is. They caught her with a frown on her face, and there's a little bit of like smoke in her eyes because it's like the
it looks like
experience.
a meth lab.
Yeah, and so they caught her in an industrial warehouse. Basically, it's like the saddest Oompa Loompa in the world.
And there's weird stuff like a villain called the Unknown that has like a chrome mask with dark hair.
She had to literally go on and make a TikTok. She doesn't have TikTok, but she made a TikTok, and she's very pretty, and very normal. And she's like, and I can't do an accent whatsoever, but she's like, I just didn't know how this was like. That's not who I am. I took an acting job. It's not who I am.
no, and they were paid like $250 a day,
or
like,
$500 for the weekend. And she's like, yeah, that's a good job. I'm going to take that. And then when she realized that it was going so south, she stayed and tried to make the kids' experience good. And then she gets lambasted for being like the sad Oompa Loompa, and it's like that's not fair.
Well, to be fair,
Land blasted.
So she
got land blasted.
She didn't necessarily get lambasted for like. No one was like saying she was bad because of what was happening. But
The backlash
experience
was
as
that
a
like,
whole.
look at this sad shit.
But it was
and
just
it's like that's not what she was doing.
It was because of how pathetic it looked, though.
But there were plenty of people that were talking about her as like, wow, you could have at least.
I didn't see a lot of
Her
that.
costume
I
was
saw
pretty.
plenty. Okay.
Well, I guess your Twitter followers are a lot more assholes. So. But no, so
Do you follow Joe Rogan like I do?
But the premise for the sketch is very funny because we've all been to Airbnbs where they have just like the most generic, shitty decorations. Live, laugh,
The
love.
thing that made me laugh the most was the closet that is owned by the people. Because every time I see it, I'm like, I want in that.
I went in that. It's locked, and I went in
that
there.
closet.
I gotta know, and I think it's gonna be a dead body. No, it's just their personal shit. But I think for some reason there's gold bars.
There's something in there. There's something in there they don't want me to know.
I respected and loved that because I've been in plenty of Airbnbs, and that is so funny to me.
But tossing in a quick mention as them being the ones who planned the Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow was just the right.
I owe Brad $15 because
he did specifically
I
say,
said if they
I bet they
it.
don't even mention it.
So I
That's
owe him
what he
$15.
said.
I will pay
you
you
son of a bitch.
Someday I'll pay you.
He thinks he knows Saturday Night Live. He thinks he knows no pop culture, but he doesn't have his finger on the pulse of America.
I know Saturday Night Live. I don't know. You're online.
You don't know comedy. You don't know fun.
You're on Twitter 27 hours a day.
You don't know what the zeitgeist is. You don't know what people are feeling.
I don't even know what that means.
You don't know what people are vibing about.
I don't know what that means either.
Yeah, no Riz.
Yeah, no, don't know what that is. No,
you know what Riz is?
No cap. I don't.
Yeah.
You know what Riz is.
You juxtafin.
Wow.
All right, moving
I
on.
made that one up.
I know you did.
Loud Table, a couple played by Sydney Sweeney and Andrew Dismukes, deals with noisy tables while on a date night. This sketch also features Chloe Feynman, Heidi Gardner, Molly Carney, Mikey Day, Marcelo Hernandez, and Devin Walker and James Nelson Johnson as customers. There's a cameo experience by Glen Powell, certainly in the beginning and now in the end. There was some,
as was foretold by the prophet.
the Alpha and the Omega.
As in the beginning, as in the end.
There was some funny parts to this that I thought could have been a lot funnier.
Yes.
Or could have. It needed punched up a little bit more, and I didn't like the way it ended.
If this was tighter, this is a very, very almost an all-timer if you get it right.
Yep.
Because I've never seen this before on SNL or really anywhere where you can shut it down without being aggressive, but like bringing up things that are perfect.
Yeah.
And this is the only time that I thought Sydney Sweeney didn't really deliver what I was hoping she could deliver.
Yeah.
Because Dismukes did a pretty good job, and then it cut to her, and it was just a little stilted.
She didn't have the right tone of like
authority.
Not even authority, but like Dismukes has a tone that it's nostalgic melodrama.
Right.
And she didn't pull it off right.
Yeah.
But the way he was delivering it, being like, you got a good group of friends here.
What I mean by authority is like the believability.
Yeah.
He says it and they believe him. Because that's authoritative.
Authenticity.
Authenticity. Fine. Authority. No, but she didn't come across as like right, and they believe you.
Yeah.
But still, those women in that sketch had to believe her because she's the one delivering it, and that's what the sketch is. That was the problem. This is the only time, like I said, that she didn't deliver on what I thought she could have done.
Yeah.
Other than that, sketch was very good.
I will say she didn't ruin it.
No, not at all.
But yeah, there was. I do think Nate is right. It could have been tightened up. It could have been a little bit better, but it was still relatively funny.
And for something to go okay as far as delivery and still be that funny, because I did think it was very funny, means that if it was just a little bit punched up, it could have been a lot better.
How'd you feel, Nate?
Yeah, that was what I felt. If it can be
you and I talk, and Nate is like, that's exactly how I feel.
No, I was thinking really quickly about who I'm gonna have as MVP because I didn't pick real quick.
It's Bowen Yang.
I thought so.
See, this is my problem. Yeah. Bowen Yang had two, I think, funny sketches.
Yeah, and that's all it needs.
One that he helped write and create, and it was hilarious. It was a sketch of the night.
Yeah, and then he was also in the Hooters thing, and it was great.
For me, I think it's Chloe Feynman, actually.
What about
really?
What about Dismukes, though?
Dismukes was funny, but he wasn't as funny. Chloe Feynman I picked because I think that she, kind of in a similar fashion that Chalamet piled up with Pete Davidson.
Sure, yeah.
I saw
them twice.
I did feel like they had a good connection when they played those pairs of characters.
But here's the thing: Pete Davidson with Chalamet, I felt like they were like those sketches were great because of the pairing.
Yeah,
I don't believe that Sydney Sweeney and Chloe Feynman were great because they were together. I think they were just together. I didn't say that.
But I thought they worked very well together.
But other than Detectives, what else did Chloe Feynman really do that was...
What was the other one that she was in?
The makeup artist one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
was fine.
You didn't like makeup artists though, Nate.
Yeah,
so
I didn't like makeup artists.
So just like
but also like she wasn't like that.
To me, it's Bowen Yang or Andrew.
I wasn't blown away, but that's why I went with Chloe.
And
Feynman.
also, she was just a bridesmaid and makeup artist. Like that was Sarah Sherman carrying a lot of the weight on that episode on that sketch. Or Heidi Gardner. Heidi Gardner was in 7 sketches. Ego Wodum was in 7 sketches. Like she was in a ton. I don't know if either of them really had a standout or breakout.
So we talk about that sometimes.
But they were freaking workhorses.
And that's the thing. Like when somebody, and we used to do this last year, even with Sarah Sherman and Bowen Yang, because it's the most impactful. It's the funniest. It's like the most outlandish. Those 2 sketches that were in were fire. But maybe we should be looking at the overall workload because that's really hard to do.
I don't know, because some of them also, like, there's...
Because this episode, I would not say James Austin Johnson did anything, right?
Yeah, but
Punky Johnson didn't do anything.
He was in some sketches, right?
But no, I'm not even considering him as that, right? But to me, Bowen Yang was the funniest, but I think Dismukes also was right there.
Yeah, how many was Dismukes in, do you know?
12.
I'm going to say, I'm going to guess
10.
I'm going to guess 4.
He was in... He was in Air Bud. He was in Big Bench, and he was in Hooters. But again, some of those weren't major things, right?
And he was in the restaurant.
Loud Table. Yep.
I guess 4. He was in 4.
Yeah. Good call.
Bam.
All right, Chloe Feynman. We did it.
So
Andrew Speaks, my
go
MVP. Andrew just speaks.
really, I'm gonna go with Bowen Yang.
I like it.
You
I like.
convinced me.
We agreed to disagree. I love it.
And then also I'm gonna shout out to, because we don't often talk about the music. Casey Musgraves was freaking great. If you didn't watch the music,
I saw a headline that said she had a wardrobe malfunction.
Oh, I didn't see a wardrobe. I'll freaking rewatch. I didn't see that, but
Calm down.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I meant like the article said Casey Musgraves upset about wardrobe malfunction on SNL. Like that's all I saw.
oh, she's got a freaking fantastic voice. She's so much fun.
What was your favorite sketch, Nate?
I'm gonna go with the Bowen sketch. I thought that was my favorite sketch of the night.
Bradford?
Yeah, that was my favorite sketch too.
Mine as
actually.
well. And honestly, Bowen Yang is like, because you say MVP and we all agree.
Why didn't you give him an MVP?
Well, because I talked myself out of it after I remembered how many disputes he was in.
But Beach Speech wasn't great though.
But he was great though. But the idea is the sketch of the night is Bowen Yang's sketch, and that does elevate him to like he deserves MVP for
He
you,
also
right?
he also I think he was the main writer for that
Well,
sketch.
and I know you do give more credence to like
do.
who created it, and you have that experience because you.
Yeah.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we can't do this show without Nate Loucks. He does all the research. We're talking heads over here, but Nate really does. He finds out who writes the sketches.
Ladies and gentlemen,
He really does a great job. Thank you, Nate. We love you very much for that.
I love you.
I
I love you, Bear.
I cannot do this without you. So thank you, buddy.
But yeah, I do place some priorities into
Sure.
how many people help write sketches and these kind of
Super
things.
fair.
And if Bowen came up with the idea, it's just creative. I just think
Yeah.
the sketch is brilliant. So
the wardrobe malfunction, by the way, was not what you think it is.
And all I saw was the clickbait headline. I never even read
it
the
was,
article.
There was a
Her tit came out.
like a Janet Jackson moment. I'm
Exactly.
like, I watched it and I did not see
Bowen
any of
Yang
that.
put his hand over her nipple.
no. She pissed on the floor.
Oh my God! Whoa!
No, she had a hair clip that was still on the rights of her hair that they used to keep her hair back. So while they were doing makeup, and it was
They
clip
left
was,
it on?
and the clip was still in.
Oh
her hair.
no!
Jeez,
I know.
Louise.
That's not even wardrobe.
She
That's
wasn't-
a hairstyle.
She wasn't even mad. She was just pointing out. She was like making fun of herself.
Good Lord!
basically.
But that no.
Yeah,
that
she doesn't seem like a person that'd be mad about
That'll
it.
tell you what what Yahoo says.
Yeah.
Right?
Friggin' slash.
Slash film.
Wardrobe malfunction gets it though.
It's true. It's true. So
All right, do we have any more episodes of SNL coming up?
Josh,
Are we done?
Motherfucking Brolin.
Josh Brolin, Thanos from Avengers
Which,
Endgame.
for
He's
some
also-
reason, we said that last week, and Nate was like, "Don't ruin it."
No, I did.
No, I was fine with it. It was
Nate,
freaking
don't
Brad.
ruin it.
Oh, sorry. It was Brad that said, "Don't ruin it."
Josh Brolin.
How
who's-
many times has Josh Brolin hosted?
can be
This will
seen
be his fourth.
right now in Dune Part 2.
That's my guess.
And I'm going to say that he has only hosted twice.
He has hosted twice. Once
So this
in
will be his third.
October 18th, 2008,
I'm one off.
with Adele as musical guest.
Wasn't that bad? I'm one off.
A cameo, Alec Baldwin, Tina Fey, Sarah Palin. Oh, that was the Sarah Palin episode where she came on. He was the host. And then 2012 with Gaudier. Do you remember
Wait,
Gaudier?
so he's hosted twice and cameoed once.
No,
He was on the episode that Sarah Palin cameoed on.
that
sorry,
famous
sorry,
episode
sorry,
that
sorry,
she
sorry,
came
sorry,
on
sorry.
during the election that year.
Gotcha. So this will be his third appearance on SNL.
Third hosting.
But like some people do cameos but don't host.
Yeah, he has not done. I don't think
Okay,
a
so this
cameo.
is his third appearance.
And
they're
when you
all
say it
hosted.
like that, when you say it like that though, it
Makes it sound like he's not
implies
hosting for a
that
third time.
like he's made a cameo.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
exactly. That was my distinction because there are plenty of people that are famous that have just done cameos.
But so just say he's hosting for a third time.
and he did an impression when he was on in 2012 of Ozzie Guillen.
The White Sox manager?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I gotta look that
You
one
know,
up.
you don't see a ton of
Ozzie Guillen.
you don't see a ton of
impersonations?
hosts doing impressions when they're on.
No, it's
do you?
true.
That's true.
Well, I hope he brings Ozzie Guillen's impersonation back.
I don't think he's the White Sox.
I
he's
just recently read that Josh Brolin was seriously considering like stopping acting right before No Country for Old Men came along. He had already kind of accepted that he wasn't going to be working full time as an actor, and his full time gig was basically being a day trader. And then No Country for Old Men came along.
Like,
and-
was he a day trader?
Yeah, he was a day trader. Like that was his day job at the time, and he had already had some notable roles, but it was No Country for Old Men that like changed everything for him.
Well, I mean, it was incredible,
Yeah,
right? But
he's a freaking gifted
so
actor. He's
I know
very
we don't. This isn't Go Fix Yourself. We're not going to talk about this too much, but I will say the number of I think men specifically that get roles in their 40s that make them who they are.
Yeah.
Right. Women in Hollywood tend to get famous younger because
It's harder
of course,
to be relevant in 40 and 50.
every Hollywood agent or whatever, every director wants the young hot woman.
Yeah, of course.
But men are a dime a dozen until they age into a very like authoritative type role. Josh Brolin's a great example of that. But there are plenty. Harrison Ford even didn't get what he was in American Graffiti when he was 30.
Yeah, and then even after that, he was working as a full-time carpenter before he got
Star Wars, right?
Yeah,
He was like 36 when he got. I mean, there are a lot of dudes that just finally get it at whatever. I was listening to Smart List the other day, and I think that there was. Oh man, I will have to cut this probably because I can't remember the actor, but there was an actor that had been doing it for. Oh, Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo
the Buffalo.
was on Smart List, and he said that he was in L.A. working as a barback / waiter for 10 years.
10 years.
10 years. And literally rode a motorcycle to his auditions because he couldn't afford a car. He worked on it himself.
And like
He's
people
broke.
just constantly tell him, give up.
You gotta stop. You gotta stop this, Mark. Go home. And he's like, I made $200 a month, and my rent was $150, and I had $50 to live on for 10 years. If anybody, that story that I've heard, he deserves it more than anybody because he's the one that stuck with it. Right? That's crazy to me.
Yeah. No, and Josh Brolin, I think, seems to be getting even better. Like,
oh yeah, the Sicario movies. Obviously, he was in Deadpool as Cable. Like he's
Thanos.
Well, of course Thanos, but he's
no,
tremendous.
don't minimize Thanos because he actually freaking does.
No,
great
he's
in
great.
Thanos.
Yeah,
he's a really.
He's great in Men in Black 3.
Well, we talked about
He
that.
is actually
Where actually he is.
Yeah.
But we talk about that in Go Flix Yourself, where the better the villain, the better the movie. And so Josh Brolin as Thanos is an incredible villain. I'm very interested what they do with him next week to see, now that he's kind of aged into this, where he is in Hollywood these days, what does that look like for SNL? I'm very curious. I'm super excited.
I hope they have him working at Hooters.
You know what? I hope they do too.
Have they announced any more hosts or no?
No, not yet. They're going to finish out March and then
Because they've been doing 3 episodes in a row, and then they usually announce it.
So
the week
clearly,
before.
the week after Josh Brolin, there will be no one because they would have announced it.
they'll
by
probably
now.
they'll probably do a 2-week break, I think, and then they'll finish up with an episode right at the end of March and then go into April.
So at the end of March, look for that
Maybe-
March Madness.
Depends on when
sketch.
Easter is though, because they might just like take the rest of March.
It's
off.
on Sunday.
You fucking asshole.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nate, is Easter
Pastor
on Sunday
Nate,
this
when
year?
is Easter?
Hey Nate, real quick, without looking at your computer,
No,
what
I
date
couldn't-
is Easter
I
Sunday?
couldn't tell you because I'm not even thinking. I know it's right. All I know is it is right at spring break, in between the 2 different spring breaks.
When
So I think it's like I'm gonna check it out. It is
Jesus came out of the
the
cave.
31st of March.
Jesus came out of that cave, and he was wearing that Technicolor dream coat, and everybody goes, "Wow, you know what? He's risen."
Oh, daylight savings times. Daylight saving time.
Why am I not
going
gonna get that joke? Risen?
Other way.
No. Okay. You know what? Hey, this has been fun.
Well, yeah. Thanks so
It's a
much.
good joke. That's good. I don't care. That's a good joke.
Thanks
No
so
one
much
listened to
for
me, but it's a
listening to
joke.
this episode of Go Flix Yourself.
I hate you so much.
All right, hey, we did kind of devolve there into some Go Flix Yourself.
Yeah, sorry.
We
If
do
you
have another
like that,
podcast. Go Flix Yourself.
go check out Go Flix Yourself.
GoFlixYourself.com.
Pod.
I think it is GoFlixYourself.com.
And if
I
you
don't know.
if you don't like it, I don't give a shit.
Brad, where can people?
You're the only one that doesn't, though. I care.
Brad, where can people find you online?
You can check me out at slashroom.com. Usually I'm posting full reviews of new episodes of Saturday Night Live over there. You can find out what I say before we record this podcast even. It's usually up Sunday, late morning, early afternoon, the day after new
Based on what you
episodes
get
premiere.
up, what time you wake up in the morning?
Yeah, or, depending on if I go
11, 12,
Yeah.
2 p.m.
Sometimes I go get breakfast. Sometimes I get around, put some ham on my sandwich. I just gotta.
That's a euphemism.
I don't want to
Nobody
know.
talks about it.
No, I make ham sandwich. Sunday's ham day. You don't like ham
Do
sandwiches?
you think anybody's still listening? No one is listening.
Ben, where can people find you?
Nowhere.
Don't look for
Don't
me.
look for me.
Don't look for me. All right.
You'll be disappointed.
You will not like it.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. I'm Nate Loucks. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Bye-bye.